Hi everybody, Falcon Genie here. And what are we going to talk about this time? Well, here's something that I basically know about. And it hasn't been said. And it's got to be said. And you know what's the number one? And let's just say we clearly know violence. Not saying I'm promoting it because I'm not. And the root causes of violence. You know what's the root number one cause of violence? Well, basically, what are the root causes of violence? Rather be people provoking people or getting angry over someone's base take. That's nothing. You know what's the root number one cause of violence? And I'm going to explain it. When it comes to a person who worked so hard in his life, is trying to get the help that they need, or trying to get the help that they need and they desperately need, and then all of a sudden they get the help, but then all of a sudden they get denied of the help. They get denied of the help, and they don't get the help, and it's too late for them. And as a result, the person goes on a revenge spree and goes after the person who denies them. And next thing you know, blood everywhere. Why am I saying this, everyone? You're probably saying to yourself, what does this have to do with the cause of violence? Everything. What does this have to do with the cause of violence, everyone? Simple. It's not just provocation or anything, but if you deny, let's just say, what is the ultimate root cause? Rather be like discrimination, or the root causes of violence rather be like religious persecution or discrimination, or religious discrimination or persecution. Rather be like persecution or religious discrimination. You know what's the number one cause of violence? Denial of somebody's basic human rights. That's the number one cause of violence, not just in America, but pretty much around the world. And why is that? Because it's basic knowledge that people don't basically understand. The reason why people don't tell you about this, it's because those delusional people, because you know what's the number one cause of violence? Denying of basic human rights. And you know who causes these types of violence towards the delusional people? The delusional people just being an idiot. The delusional people, because delusional people, you know what's the number one cause of that? Because they can't get it, because they're arrogant people. And guess what, arrogant people, everyone? They never, and I mean they never last long. They don't. In fact, arrogant people, they don't make it far in life. Arrogant people don't make it far in life, everyone. They don't. But you're probably wondering yourself, what does this have to do with the cause of violence? Simple. Denying somebody's basic human rights. And a good example would be the whole healthcare CEO situation. How the CEO basically got shot for basically United Healthcare being shot. Because you know why, well, I'm not condoning violence here because I don't condone violence here on this channel because, first of all, I'm not a violent person. But I'm saying this to everyone. But I'm saying this to you, everyone. It's reality. Violence is reality. The only people that would get offended by this are delusional people. But you know what's the number? But you know why delusional people seem not to get what violence is happening towards them? It's because they have no self-awareness, and guess what? And rightfully so. Rightfully so, because delusional people, everyone, never get anywhere. Because delusional people are the number one cause of violence towards them and everyone else. Why? Because delusional people simply do not get it, because they're arrogant, they're narcissistic, because you know what happens to those narcissistic people? They don't get far in life. In fact, they end up, they pretty much end up in poverty, either in poverty or not just in poverty, but also when they end up in poverty, or they end up in a, or they end up in jail. Poverty, the justice system, and all that. Yeah, the whole 9 yards, everyone. And why am I saying this, everybody? Because you know why violence is so rampant amongst people on Earth? Because people can't learn when to check their own ego if it's getting out of control. The number one cause of violence is people not checking their ego. I'm just cutting through the BS and telling you the number one cause of violence, not just in this country, but pretty much around the world, is denial of basic human rights. Denial of basic human rights. That's the number one cause of violence. The number one cause of violence. Denial of basic human rights. For example, the CEO healthcare guy that got shot. I don't condone violence, but he got what was coming to him. Because if you deny basic people's right to medical care, you're gonna face not just backlash, but you could face potential. Let's just say you might not be safe anymore when you basically deny people of basic human rights. I'm just saying be aware, because there's a lot of crazy people out there, everyone. These companies know that. These arrogant narcissists know that. But hey, it's like these so-called delusional people, it's like they want violence towards them. Not saying I promote it, because I don't. But trust me, it's because these people lack basic moral skills. They lack basic self-discipline and moral skills, everyone. That's the root number one cause of violence. Denial of basic human rights. Denying somebody's basic human rights. Of course, they have to get that, because that's what's causing them. And if they can't get it, and it's not just in healthcare, but we're all aware of the YouTube shooter, basically what happened, Nazam Ogman or something like that. I don't know. But it's still not, don't get me wrong, violence is not an excuse, because you can go to jail for that, but it's not, but it's what's going to happen, because if you deny basic people's certain right to free speech, which should never happen, but the people who do the denying, basically, they're the ones that are going to end up in hellfire. Because because those people, and for those delusional people out there who claim they can do it because they can do whatever they want, keep deluding yourself, delusional people, because you're all going to kick the bucket one day, and you're all going to get held accountable. Because you're in your power trips, because you think you can deny a person's right to speak whatever they want, all because you get a kick out of it. Well, guess what? One day, you're going to get held accountable. And when you're held accountable, you might end up going to the hellfire. And guess what? Hellfire is a terrible place for oppressors, because in the Quran, God warns people who oppress, the idea of oppressors, because God warns people. God warned of Firaun not to oppress people. But Firaun didn't listen. He tried to tell them the message of God, everyone, the message of God, the oneness of God, and people worshiping him as a God. You know what was his end? The water swallowing him whole, all because he couldn't control his ego. And at the end, Pharaoh got exactly what he deserved, because now everyone nowadays, the people who do the moderation stuff, they're basically the modern day Firaun. Those people, they're basically the modern day Firaun. The people who oppress, I'm not sure if this video might get taken on, even though I'm doing my best not to promote but that's the reality of this situation. They got to learn. These delusional people have got to learn that's going to be their reality. When they go to hellfire, it's endless pain, suffering, and torturing, everyone. The hellfire. All because they couldn't control their ego. Well, guess what? Now, they're going to burn in hellfire forever. And rightfully so. Why is that? Because they couldn't control themselves. All because you didn't say enough was enough. Now here you are, burning in hellfire in a terrible situation. Because that's where all narcissists belong, everyone. Hellfire. The pits of punishment. That's where they all belong, everyone. These narcissists, these so-called oppressors, and nowadays, everyone, these oppressors, that's where they all belong. Hellfire. And that's where they're going. Hellfire, if they do not change their ways. That is if a narcissist changes his ways. Because first of all, he's an arrogant narcissist. He's not going to, they're not going to, not he or she or whatever, they're not going to change their ways. Because a narcissist, they're never going to change their ways until something traumatic happens to them. Because these people never learn. Why? Because these narcissists, they never learn. All they want to do is just act like an idiot. And don't worry, you're going to get your wish. And you know what these narcissists crave? They always crave for attention. Well, don't get me wrong. You're going to get that attention, narcissist. You're going to get what you want. But it's not the good kind of attention you're going to get. So go ahead. Keep deluding yourself, narcissist, because it's going to end up horrible for you. Because one day you're going to do it to the wrong person. And when you do it to the wrong person, they're not going to miss an opportunity. They may not even pursue the legal routes. They're not going to miss an opportunity to capture you. And you could end up in a horrible situation. And next thing you know, you're in a foreign country you're basically in a foreign country, poor, dirt poor, in a foreign country with no money, don't even know the language, and struggling to get food and water. Because that's the life of an arrogant gangster, everyone. That is the life of an arrogant gangster. All these so-called gangbangers, all these so-called arrogant people, keep deluding yourself, because one day it's going to end horribly for you. Okay, good. Because, everyone, the root cause of violence is denial of basic someone's human rights, all because delusional people couldn't control their ego. All because delusional people. And I know for a fact that there's a lot of delusional people in Google, YouTube. There's a lot of delusional people in the healthcare system, in corporate, everywhere. There's a lot of delusional, oppressive corporate degenerates out there who will try to claw themselves out of power and try to just threaten everyone's basic freedoms, civil liberties, and not only that, but and also everyone's economic rights by taking the money that's not theirs and stealing it. I'm just saying, these delusional people want to go ahead and be delusional. You're going to get karma. You're going to get dealt with. Go ahead, keep deluding yourself, because one day it's going to end horribly for you. And trust me, man, you could end up in prison, or if not, 6 feet under, roasting and toasting in hellfire. Roasting and toasting in your grave, because the punishment of the grave is far much more severe than the worldly punishments. I'm just saying. Because the punishment of the grave is a lot more severe than the punishment on earth. I'm just saying. Because these arrogant narcs, you're going to get your comeuppance. You're going to regret it. Because these arrogant narcissists rather be in corporate, in government, or anything on earth. And if you want to stay that way, you want to stay being a delusional narcissist, go right ahead, be my guest. But remember, it can take you so far, but not far enough. Until something dramatic happens. Because narcissists like you couldn't control your ego. You might as well probably not live at all. Because these delusional people, they might as well not live at all. In their delusion. They might as well not live at all. Because they want to be, because They couldn't control their ego, all because they thought it would be funny. All because they thought it would be funny. But it's not funny. It's disgusting. You're not funny. You're not edgy. You're a nuisance. You narcissists out there, you're not funny. You're not edgy. You're a nuisance. And guess what? You're going to get dealt with. You will get dealt with. All those criminals out there who break the law, all those criminals out there who break the law, steal people's money, do crimes, and oh yeah, and go out and probably prey upon women and children, you're going to get your just desserts. In hellfire, in hell has a special place for those people who commit crimes, who prey on women and children, and who oppress people for no reason. Hell has a special place for those people. Because at the end, hellfire awaits for the oppressors. Hellfire awaits for the oppressors. Hellfire awaits for the oppressors. And that's all I have to say. Anyways, everyone, if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, and whatever you do, share this video. Share all of it. Share it. Like, comment, subscribe in this video, and as always, fight this degenerate agenda.